self-characterization time. It's day 1 of January 2004. It's day 1 of 2024 and January 2024. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi, and it's a Monday. I thought it's self-characterization time. And so this time I'm going to do, based on movies, I don't know how I would, like, term the genre. So the genre here being, instead going with the description path, is like for young adults, and it's the kind of series or book where, maybe series is more appropriate for kind of this self-characterization, where there's like society is divided into different groups. So that could be like the Divergent series, where everything's divided into factions. There's the Maze Runner series, where everything's divided into mazes and non-mazes. There's the Hunger Games, where things are divided into districts. Those kind of series. Or in the Twilight series, where things are divided into vampires, werewolves, and humans. I guess Harry Potter could fall into it in that sense too. Right? It's the fundamental kind of core of the series divisions, I guess, and they tend to be geared towards young adults. So I was like, I've seen the movies for the aforementioned series, and I struggle with self-characterization in those. I'm like, I watch and I go, I'm like none of these things. And except for one, and that was the Divergent series, and I was like, it was the only one where I was like, I know where I belong in this series. And so I'm gonna pull out, these are movie notes, not book notes, because I've not read all of the series. I think the only one I've read is the Hunger Games of the ones. Oh, and Harry Potter. Okay, Harry Potter and then the Hunger Games. So the Divergent series, here's Divergent feature film, the movie adaptation of the first book. Is it the first book? I think there's more books than there are movies. So it's a movie adaptation of information in the books. How about that? Okay, so in this, it doesn't get portrayed so clearly in this one. There's a Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant, are the 3 movies. And I would say by the end of Insurgent, I kind of made a guess when I watched this one. I was like, I'm gonna guess I'm in Candor, which is truth / honesty, honest. And then in Insurgent and Allegiant, in watching those, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely Candor as a faction. But it's interesting because it's one of the few where I like read it and I was like, there was Amity, which is like friendliness, Candor, which is truth / honesty, Dauntless, which is, I guess I'm doing this in alphabetical order, like the rebels who like to party, Erudite, which is like scholarship, and then abnegation. No, I didn't do an alphabetical order, although those are all very early in the alphabet, those words. And then abnegation is like servitude. And I was like, I'm Candor, and for better or for worse, I have life experiences that very much confirm that when people attack me at the end of it all, it's all about kind of like truth and honesty and justice. And I don't identify with a bull or a bear market. I'm like, I'm the truth market, you know, kind of thing. And that comes, I guess, Scotland culture. Heritage goes back, what, like 4,000 plus years of kind of ingraining in its people. It's native peoples, which I'm descended from native peoples, so in that sense still part of the native peoples. It's like a best guess, but my parents raised me well. My aunt works in the legal system. I was voted in elementary school most likely to be like a veterinarian or a doctor or something like that, but I was like, but I want truth and justice, you know, I want to be a lawyer. So like sometimes what people vote a person and what the person actually is or wants are very different things. So I saw this and I was like, dang, I'd be Candor. And it was an interesting one. So I watched it in self-characterization. I was like, okay, this is my characterization of myself. Let me see. There's usually a bunch of like online tests or quizzes you can take, right? And fill in the answers, and it'll put you in, you're this character, or you're this faction, or you're this district, or whatever. I was like, let's see. I know what I am. Let's see if the online quizzes know what I am. Let's see if there's agreement, harmony, so to speak. So I fill it out, and it's I got like 20% of each thing, with except for one faction, Candor, which was like 25% or 40% or something. There was like, it was like I was a little bit of everything, but mostly like, or not mostly, I was a little bit of everything with my only peak being in Candor. And I was like, sorry guys, I'm not Divergent, which means you're like everything equally. I am not that. And I knew that when I watched this. And to have that confirmation in online quizzes, I was like, in terms of self-characterization in this kind of messy genre that I can't even come up with a term for that I think fits, the Divergent series, well, I don't think Beatrice Pryor, or Caleb Pryor, or any of the characters are based on me. It is an interesting one in that I found something that I was like, that actually kind of fits me. Whereas I normally can't. There's a difference between being like, I've done book notes on Harry Potter, like the first Harry Potter and then the Hunger Games trilogy, and Hunger Games trilogy. And I'll say, based on my family or these aspects of me, I would be maybe in this house or in this district. However, that's different than like fit. And this is one series where I was like, it's unique amongst all those series because there actually is like a personal fit in the online quiz. At least one online quiz. I think I might have actually taken a couple because I was like, is this for real? I finally have my one series where I actually have a home, so to speak, and it's in Candor. So yeah, self-characterization. If you're familiar with this genre, this makes sense. If you're not, or in this series, if you're not, essentially it's like everybody in society gets divided into, you can be in one of the 5 factions that I've already mentioned, or you can be like factionless, which would be like homeless. And they live and operate their daily lives in these factions. So essentially, like I view it as something so fundamental to a person's core that they can live every day in that particular attribute of their personality and who they are. So mine would be, I could live in truth, in honesty. Yeah. There. Don't know about the rest of my family. Like in terms of who they really are on the inside, as opposed to just like professionalism and that kind of stuff. I mean, I was in science too, in scientific breakthrough at its core is about truth and honesty. A scientific breakthrough can be made in a truth arena, whereas in a scholarship arena, I have found that not always, but sometimes people can be very petty and get into a lot of fights. So it doesn't necessarily mean the science is always about truth. So erudite in that sense was not a non-fit for me in watching it in a big way, even though, you know, I watched at least some of those movies when I was in a PhD program in geophysics at a #1 institution. So it was like, it's actually pretty profound to not identify with the scholarship faction. Okay. Anyway, I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi. Happy 2024, day 1, at least as of filming this. I intend to publish it today. A little bit of a different video one compared to last year and the year before that. I started uploading videos in 2017, so 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. This marks my 8th year of having at least one video. I have at least 3 videos for each year, so we'll see. Is this going to be the 8th of the year? I'm going to have it. That's YouTube specific. Anyway, happy day and time of viewing whenever you're viewing this, and happy place of viewing this, whenever you're viewing this from.